the Trump administration clearly has no intention of bringing him back either. They have to, quote, facilitate his return. Why? Because the Supreme Court 9-0 has insisted that they do that, facilitate his return. But what does that actually mean? Well, according to a brief that is filed with the judge, the Trump Justice Department clarifies what is at issue here, and I want to go through that. The defendant here is, in fact, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security. Defendants understand facilitate to mean what the term has long meant in the immigration context, namely actions allowing an alien to enter the United States. Taking, quote, all available steps to facilitate the return of Garcia is thus best read as taking all available steps to remove, quote, domestic, this is what is underlined, domestic obstacles that would otherwise impede his ability to return here. There's no other reading of facilitate. So this is what facilitate means. We're going to allow, we're going to permit, we're not going to block, we're going to enable, but we don't have to do more than that. Now, the Supreme Court said that the lower court, the district court, had also ordered the Trump administration to, quote, effectuate. Now, effectuate is something quite different from facilitate, because effectuate means make it happen, bring him back. And the Supreme Court was like, wait, no, you need to clarify what you mean by that. And the Supreme Court said also, you cannot interfere with the legitimate authority of the executive branch. You cannot interfere in the executive branch's conduct of foreign policy. All of this is explicitly stated in the Supreme Court's opinion. And so here, in the brief before the judge, we have the Trump administration saying, quote, the federal courts have no authority to direct the executive branch to conduct foreign relations in a particular way or engage with a foreign sovereign in a given manner. Another way to put it, you don't get to tell us that we've got to tell Bukele this or tell Bukele that or make him do this or make him do that or establish this condition for him to do this or for him to do that. No, that is in our domain. That is not your domain. That's not for a judge to do. The Supreme Court, just as it was clear you got to facilitate his return, they were equally clear that you cannot intrude or trample upon executive authority in this way. The plaintiffs for Garcia have asked the judge to, quote, order the government to make demands on the Salvadoran government, which they're not going to do. 2, dispatch personnel to the soil of an independent sovereign nation. Not doing it. Send an aircraft into the airspace of a sovereign foreign nation to extract a citizen who is a citizen not of our country, but of that country, from his own country. They're not going to do that. And so this is now back before the district court. They're going to have to decide what to do. Obviously, they can't make the Trump administration do anything, but I think this judge is angling for some kind of a constitutional showdown. I suppose what he could do is try to hold Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi in contempt of court, which will, of course, be appealed right back to the Supreme Court. So what happened here is the Supreme Court kind of drew a distinction. I would call it facilitate, yes, effectuate, no. The Trump administration is saying, all right, we'll facilitate. If they want to send him back, we'll take him. But we're not going to ask him to send them back. He's already said he's not going to. We can't make him. And so he's going to basically have to stay there. And we'll see what happens and whether this goes right back to the Supreme Court and whether the Supreme Court takes any further action, which I predict they will not.